Welcome to Beginner Ukulele with Stuart, lesson number 3. We do not have time for kidding around today. We have so much we need to cover. We can't waste time talking about going to the bank and stuff like that. If you have not watched lesson number 1 and 2, I must insist that you go do so now. We're going to pick up right where we left off in the previous videos. So if you don't watch lessons 1 and 2, you're going to be confused about what's happening. It's almost like only watching the second part of a 2-part season finale to a TV show. And you're going to be like, what is happening? Why is Captain Picard a member of the Borg? This makes no sense. It's going to be just like that, except for with ukulele instead of Star Trek. If you don't watch lesson 1 and 2, you're going to be even more confused than you are right now. You can find the links to those videos right here and right here. I did it. I made the links appear on the screen. I'm very proud of myself. Moving on. Today we are going to learn 2 more chords and the song Let It Be by the Beatles. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Uncle Stuart, Let It Be isn't played on ukulele. It's played on piano or something like that. So first of all, don't call me Uncle Stuart. It's kind of weird. Just call me Stuart or Mr. Stuart or Uncle Stuart. Second, as it turns out, any song that's played on piano or guitar or banjo or keyboard or anything like that can be played on ukulele. I guarantee it. Let's get started. So just so you can emotionally prepare, before we actually play the song, we have to do 3 things. The first thing we're going to do is going to be a little bit boring. The second thing is going to be fun. And then the third thing is going to be pretty irritating. It's going to be annoying. So what that tells me is that 2 of the 3 things we're going to do are not going to be fun, which makes me think I should reconsider what we're doing today. But we don't have time for that. Let's get going. First thing, the boring thing. Let's review what we did in lesson number 1. Would you play the C chord for me? How do you do the C chord? Well, let's see. You're going to play the 3rd fret on the A string. Grandma can't eat apples, so that A string is the bottom string. Fret number 1, 2, 3. I'm using my ring finger. That's the finger I like to use for the C. I'm going to push the string against the ukulele and then strum all the strings. All right, good. I know, you've been doing that forever. It's easy. Question, is your finger hurting right here from strumming the chords? Or is it getting kind of red? Maybe you got some blisters or some scratches. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to try to only use the very tip of your finger when you strum. If you're going like this and your finger's getting caught on the strings and it's hurting here and it almost feels like you have a hangnail, then that means you're probably using too much of your finger. So what you can do is just relax your finger and just have the very tip of your finger just glide over the strings. But here's something else you can try. Aim for this area right here when you strum. This is called the neck of the ukulele and this is the body. Aim for right where the neck meets the body. If you do that, it's going to be so much easier to just use the tip of your finger because there isn't even any space for your finger to get stuck on the string. Back here, you can get stuck really easily on that top string, but over here, it just glides right over. That being said, the tip of your finger still might hurt a little bit. You might have to toughen up your finger, get a callus on there, but just make sure you're using the tip of your finger and strumming right here. All right. A minor chord. Can you play the A minor? That was the 2nd fret on the G string. The G string is the top string, so I'm just going to skip the 1st fret and put my middle finger right on the 2nd fret of the top string. I'm going to strum right here. There it is. All right, well, hopefully you're getting a little bit more comfortable switching back and forth between those 2 chords because we're going to add 2 more chords that are going to make things quite a bit more difficult. Let's get to the fun part of the lesson. Get that A minor going again. You have the A minor with the middle finger there. So we want to switch from this A minor chord to an F chord. So the F chord, you're going to use a second finger, but the good news is you get to keep your middle finger in the same spot on the second fret of the top string. So keep your middle finger pushing there. Then with your pointer finger that's just hanging out over here on its own, you're going to play the first fret on the E string, which is the second string from the bottom. Grandma can't eat right there. So check this out. Pointer finger skipping the top, second, going right there. I'm going to push on the first fret. I'm going to keep both fingers pushing on the strings. And then I'm going to strum all the strings, just like for the other two chords. Yeah. That's it right there. So let's switch back and forth between the A minor and the F. Check this out. There's the A minor. There's the F. I love doing this switch because you don't have to move your middle finger at all. Your middle finger just hangs out on the top string and your pointer finger just gets to be off the string, on the string, off the string, on the string. It's great. It's great. I love it. Are you guys ready for the irritating, annoying part of the lesson? We need to learn the G chord. G is one of the most common chords on the ukulele. It's in so many songs, but it's kind of tough to play. We're going to use 3 fingers for this chord. Let's start from the bottom and work our way up. So, would you please put your middle finger on the second fret of the bottom string? There we go. You've got it. You've got it. Just like that. Then, this is where it gets tough. Take your ring finger, that's the finger with a ring on it, and you're going to put it on the third fret of the E string, the second string from the bottom. So look at this. I'm keeping my middle finger there on the bottom string. Then I'm going to add my ring finger to the third fret of the next string. Look at how I'm holding the ukulele. This is weird. All right, well, whatever. All right, so we've got those 2 fingers. Take your pointer finger, that's your finger with the pointer on it, and you're going to put it on the second fret of the second string from the top, which is the C string. So now we have 3 fingers all pushing in different spots on the ukulele. So that was middle finger, second fret on the bottom string, ring finger on the third fret of the second string from the bottom, and pointer finger on the second fret of the second string from the top. Oh boy, that's a lot of numbers to keep track of. Take a look at it. Have your fingers in the right place? Let's play it and see how it sounds. I'm not thrilled with that. Let's try again. That's a little better, but I don't like it. Let's see if we can figure out what's going wrong. So it looks like my fingers are in the right spots. I've got my pointer finger up here on the second fret, second string from the top. My middle finger's down here on the bottom. So my fingers are in the right places, but it still doesn't sound right. What's going on? There's 2 things. One, I'm not pushing very hard. I've rested my fingers in the right spot, but I need to make sure to really push. I need to really push with my thumb, push my fingers against the strings. That way we're actually going to get some clear notes instead of getting that kind of muffled, muted, twangy sound. But there's another thing I'm doing wrong. I'm laying my fingers kind of flat on the strings. You see that? See my ring finger? It's kind of, I'm touching that second string from the bottom, but I'm also kind of laying down on the next one. With these chords, we want to make sure to only use the tips of our fingers. You see that? Well, not really. There we go. You see how I'm just using the tips of my fingers to hit the strings. If I lay them flat like this, it's going to cause all sorts of problems. I want to use just the tip of each finger. That's going to take some serious practice, and you might have a friend who plays ukulele and makes it look so easy. Remember, this is not a competition. Well, unless you've entered some sort of ukulele chord playing competition. In that case, then it is a competition. But for most people, it's not a competition. When I first started learning these chords, I was so slow. And no matter how careful I was, they never sounded quite right. I loved playing melodies. I could play stuff like this all night long. I loved it. But the chords, they were rough. They were rough. I just kept doing it a little bit. I only had the patience to do it for a minute or two at a time. But then finally, after probably about a month, I started to get kind of comfortable with them, and now I love playing chords. Now it's so much fun. You know, the harder the chord, the better. But it took a long time for me to get there. Now, you might want to stop the video and spend some time just reviewing these 4 chords. The C, the A minor, those 2 you have under control, then the F, and finally the G. You might even want to take a couple days and just slowly go through each of those chords. You probably want to have them memorized. It's okay if it still takes you a while to get to them. It's okay if they still don't sound perfect, but you want to be familiar with them so that you can at least get your fingers in the right spot. Because now we're going to start actually learning the song. We start off with the C chord. Easy, C chord. Boom. Then we go straight to the G chord, straight to the hardest one. So again, that's middle finger on the 2nd fret of the bottom string, ring finger on the 3rd fret of the 2nd to bottom, and then pointer finger on the 2nd fret of the 2nd from the top. There it is. Perfect. Let's go back and forth between the C and the G a couple times. C, and then G. Back to C, back to G. All right, we're getting it. Let's do 4 counts on each chord. So it's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, then the G, 2, then back to the C chord, C, 2, then switch back to G, and G, 2, C one more time, and All right, adding another chord. After the G, we've got the A minor. Piece of cake. 1 finger. You guys have been doing this forever. C, then G, then A minor. Just 1 strum per chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, then switch to the G chord. 1, 2, then A minor. Here we go. A minor. Guess what's next? That's right, F chord. And what's great is we get to do our trick where we just keep the middle finger in the same spot and add the pointer finger to the 1st fret of the 2nd to bottom string, and the A minor turns into the F chord, no problem. A minor, F. A minor, F. Easiest chord switch in the world. Let's start back at the C, and we're going to count to 4 for each chord. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. And a 1, 2, then the G chord. Here we go. G, 2, 3, A minor. Boom. 2, then the F, piece of cake. F, 2, then back to the, what is it called? Back to the C. Guys, so many chords to keep track of. All right, there's a C chord. I did it. It's easy. Let's try it 2 counts on each chord. 1, 2, here we go. And a C, then switch to the G, and then to the A minor. Now we've got the F chord, back to C. C chord, okay, G, and then A minor, boom, then the F, and a pakalaka manga bugga, wow wow, wiki wiki, tiki taki toy, hunka waka laka munka tunka tinky tanky toy. I just wrote that song just now, just right off the dome. Are you ready to add words to it? Probably not. I'll tell you what. Let's try playing the chords together, and I'll sing along. 1, 2, 3. When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. And in my hour of darkness, she is standing right in front of me. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. Nice. You might have noticed that a couple of those chords didn't quite sound like the song. We're going to make a couple adjustments next lesson, plus add a few parts to it. For this week, just keep practicing those 4 chords over and over again. Try singing along if you want. That might be tough, but it's fun to do. But the most important thing is do not neglect the G chord. I know the G is the hardest chord. You're going to be tempted to be like, I'm great at the C. The A minor is no problem. I'm pretty good at the F. The G is not great. But you know what? No one's even going to notice that. Spend some extra time on the G. It might be a great idea to start off each practice session just by playing C, G, C, G, maybe 5 or 6 times. As you start getting a little more comfortable, maybe bump it up to 10 or 20 times of just playing C, G, C, G. You want to make sure to get extra time in with the G because that's the hardest chord. Good luck with these. Let me know if you have any questions. Leave comments, do all that stuff, and we will finish up Let It Be next lesson. Thanks.